Coach Taylor put out another standby. And you know what that happens? Commitments shortly follow. We're going to talk about it, the players that they were able to land, what it means for JSU after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYjr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload all the time. Now, Coach T.C. Taylor, the Jackson State football head coach, put out a standby. And you know when he does that, that means commitments are shortly to follow. This is what Coach Taylor put out on May 11th at 7:43 Eastern, at 6:43 Central. And we had to wait about 18 hours roughly. 18 hours roughly. But then, oh boy, was the wait worth it because like I said, after those 18 hours, JSU got some really, really good news times two. The first one came via actually taking away a playmaker from one of your rivals in the SWAC. And that came via the Mississippi native Duke Miller, wide receiver transfer from New Mexico. Duke Miller put the tweet, "I'm betting on me," committed to JSU. And as you see, he puts out his JSU pictures. Let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit on that. Duke Miller, 6'1", 180, 75, 80-pound wide receiver, explosive playmaker, looking to come and add some dynamic playmaking ability to that JSU receiving core. You know, some people that had criticisms over JSU receiving core were talking about there wasn't enough explosive playmakers. Well, Duke Miller is looking to add to that. He's looking to be one of those guys from the wide receiving core to make plays on the inside, on the outside, and everywhere in between on that offense. I told you guys, I think this offense is going to be a run-heavy offense, but really big on explosive plays. A fast-paced, run-heavy with explosive plays, looking to catch folks off guard. They're hoping that Duke Miller, a Mississippi native, is able to help them in that space. Now, what the commitment of Duke Miller also does, maybe even more so than just adding a playmaker to your roster, you being JSU, is that you actually take them away from Alcorn. Duke Miller, like I said, is a Mississippi native. He comes from the state of Mississippi. He played JUCO ball at East Mississippi before initially transferring to New Mexico, now headed to Jackson State. So he was good enough to play at the FBS level. New Mexico thought so. But he was going to Alcorn. He was originally committed after leaving New Mexico. He was originally committed to Coach McNair and Alcorn. And a lot of people in the SWAC believe that Alcorn and Jackson State, along with maybe FAMU, are two of the best teams in the SWAC. They believe that from the East and West, those will be the two representatives in the SWAC championship game. So a lot of folks, it's just what I'm hearing. It might not be how you feel. It's just what I'm hearing. And to be able to flip a commitment from one of your rivals, not just an in-state rival, not just an all-time rival, but also a team that you could potentially see in a very, very important game, that being the SWAC championship game, is huge. Because instead of making plays for Coach McNair and Alcorn, Duke Miller will now be making plays, hopefully, for you. And that, even so, more so than just adding him to the team, is taking him away from Alcorn, is big time. That's big time. And that is where, you know, like, hey, football is, you know, recruiting is a grimy game. And sometimes you got to get grimy to get the best players. Now, Duke Miller wasn't the only one to decide to go back home and play for JSU. They also got a commitment from a DB. Now, I told you guys I thought they would add more defensive back help because they're going to run a version of the 4-2-5. Bunch of DBs out there at all times, and they added a young man who has been able to make plays at the FBS level and is a Jackson, Mississippi native in Joe Perkins. Joe Perkins, the DB safety corner transfer from FIU, is coming back home. His dad at least, I don't know about his mom, but his dad at least for sure is a Jackson State alum. He's a Jackson State. This is a Jackson kid, a young man that went to Madison High School, down there in the Jackson area. As you see right there, Jackson, Mississippi right there. Played 2 years at FIU in Florida. decided that wasn't for him. Started a few games while he was there at FIU, so he's got experience as a starter there at the FBS level. And now he's headed home to play for Coach T.C. Taylor, Coach O, and the rest of the Jackson State staff, adding to a defense that I think will be one of the strong points to this 2023 team. Joe Perkins. I hate it that he's a Kappa. I did read that he's a noob, and that bless his heart. But, it is what it is. We're not going to hold that against him. But he is a talented young man. It's a lot of – I talked about this before, but the more and more I see the commitments, the more and more I see there – obviously there's been a focus on getting guys from the state of Mississippi, right? Mississippi has a ton of, just like all the states in the South, Georgia, Louisiana, Alabama, Texas, all the southern states have tons of talent, Florida, of course, but Mississippi has a lot of talent that comes from their high school ranks and that comes from their JUCO ranks. Mississippi has the best JUCO system in the entire country. And so JSU, Coach Taylor, who is from Mississippi, and Coach O, who is also from Mississippi, have put an emphasis on getting young men who come from Mississippi to come play at Jackson State, whether it's via straight out of high school or guys that are transfers from either the JUCO ranks or from FBS programs. There's a ton of Jackson kids from Jackson or the Jackson area, Madison, surrounding areas, Macomb. They are getting those young men to come back to JSU and play at Jackson State. That's also huge. That's one of the, even though, Prime had a bunch of success, one of the things some of the natives there in JSU and in Jackson, they didn't like there wasn't as much Mississippi flavor as they're used to. And so now you see Coach Taylor and Coach O and the rest of that staff putting an emphasis on getting kids from Mississippi, and even a lot of times getting young men from Jackson. You got the Short brothers, Philip and Josh Short. You get a guy like Joe Perkins and a ton of other guys. Even Duke Miller is from Taylorsville, Mississippi. This is huge. This is continue to add to the roster. Now, I was told, now I don't know how true it is. I was told, I'm going to just put preferences, what I was told. I'm not reporting this, but that JSU, the team, reports at the end of May. And so we will probably get a few more commitments between now and then. And then for what I've been told from, as far as what Coach T.C. Taylor wants, he wants his roster completed before the start of June. When the team reports at the end of May, he wants his complete roster to be there. Now, obviously, you'll have some more defections, right? You'll have some more defections, but possibly you could be adding more talent. Obviously, if there's a guy that's talented enough, and especially if he's from the state of Mississippi, that wants to come join the JSU roster, I'm sure you could see them added after June or whatever, maybe even in July. But I'm told he wants the majority, 90-95% of his roster completely done by the start of June, by the time the young men report back at the end of May. So this was a big day for JSU. Two big time commitments, both at the receiver position and at the defensive back position, two positions of need. And we'll see what they're able to do. JSU said they still think they're the kings of the SWAC, and they continue to recruit like they're the kings of the SWAC. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Jackson State lands two huge commitments after another famous standby by Coach T.C. Taylor. My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsyJr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe on your way out. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. That is on Instagram and Twitter at JLightsy7. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.